Rowing and inclusiveness.
Community.
Having fun and trying your best.
Friendship. Teamwork.
Family.
Rowing, competitiveness, and being bossy.
Coming home. Life-changing.
Improvement and self-growth.
Acceptance.
Fun and friendship.
Resilience.
Courageous.
New beginnings.
The London Otters Rowing Club was started back in 2014, primarily to reduce barriers to entry for LGBTQ+ individuals to access the sport of rowing. And this was something that Warwick and I back then found quite difficult with existing clubs to get into. And we wanted to create a club that was welcoming, that offered access to rowing for everybody, no matter who you were.
Like lots of people after COVID, I was starting to think about what I wanted to do and taking part in a team sport. And it was really important to me to be able to join an LGBT club because as a non-binary person, having that level of understanding in communities is so important. And so I was looking for really a sport where I didn't have to do any running. So I picked rowing to begin with. And I have to say, it is like getting a whole new family. It's been really special.
We had to identify a base to operate from. We needed facilities. We identified the London Regatta Centre, which is down at the Royal Albert Dock. And the reason for this was they had an indoor tank, which is where we could offer a learn to row course for adults that hadn't yet been able or been exposed to rowing. They also had a fantastic 6-lane, 2,000-metre rowing course that was non-tidal, which meant that we were able to put novices and amateurs onto the water safely and allow them to learn to row.
What is unique with London Otters is that this is their home. This is where they set up. So we're very keen to support that. And in the future, we'd like to see them have their own facility here, maybe a pod, and we'll do everything we can to support that.
I coached the very first Otters Learn to Row. Ralphie and Warwick brought down 14 friends. They said, we've got no idea what we're doing, we don't know how to row, and we'd like to learn how to row. So we set up a Learn to Row course with them, and we loved it, they loved it, we had a good time. So they brought another 16 people. That went just as well as the first time, so they brought another 16 and another 16, and eventually we got to the point where they had so many rowers, we said, you guys need to set up a rowing club.
London Youth Rowing were running our Learn to Row courses. And they took us up to about group 10. And that was really at the point where we were established enough as a club and had enough members that were sufficiently skilled in being able to transfer their skills and their knowledge of rowing onto the LGBT community that were joining the courses. We've just completed our group 34. And looking back, that's over 512 individuals that we've been able to teach them how to row.
The Otters are different from other clubs I've rowed with because there is I'll say a friendlier vibe. I am a type of person that likes to work hard but also wants to really enjoy myself. And if I'm waking up at 6 in the morning to come row, I want to make sure it's a place where I'm having fun. It's nice to be in a place where I'm not the only of something. So I'm not the only Black woman, which when I started rowing many moons ago was often the case. So it's nice to see other people and other identities reflected in the sport.
I think we face some unique challenges as a club because we are focused on inclusivity and making sure that anybody can access the sport and have a great time. But we're also a rowing club and we're focused on being competitive, and trying to balance those needs sometimes can be tough. I think we do it pretty well. There's always lots to learn, lots that we can do better, but we're always looking at every decision that we make from both angles. Does it improve our standing as a competitive rowing club, and does it enable people to access the sport and do something that they might love?
When the club was finally set up with a proper structure and a proper committee, they needed a coaching team. I joined that coaching team. I eventually became head coach for a number of years. I'm now a senior coach, and I got to see the transformation of this ragtag group of people into what the club is today.
I think that Ellie's brought a really awesome injection of enthusiasm to the club. She comes from a great background of coaching and rowing, and she's brought with her some really ambitious goals to drive the club forward to new heights. And we've already seen those things start to happen at Head of the River races this year, and I am just super excited to see that her and the coaching team are going to drive the club forward at that technique and rowing level as well.
So I joined the club about a year ago. Jamie asked me to be head coach September. So I have taken over as head coach at the club, mainly coaching the senior squad. The senior squad is about people that can row, and hopefully by the time that they get to the senior squad can row well. And we're taking that, we're finessing it, we're providing a structured training environment so that there is a progression not just of rowing skill but also rowing fitness. And then we're going out to race. We're aiming to win races, as are most boats. We're trying to do it in a community, as a group of people. We're trying to have a few laughs along the way. But ultimately, I think my goal for the club is to start pushing the boundaries of our results.
We showed up at our first regatta without any boats, and we had to borrow boats to run our first race. Sally at the Lee was a big advocate of ours, and she helped us out with quite a few races. I don't think we could have got through those early years without her.
That's how it started, and we realized we were then able, after we sort of had 4, 5, 6 groups come through, that there was enough money to buy a second-hand boat.
I do remember when London Otters started here, they were borrowing boats, a lot of support from London Youth Rowing, using recreational boats. I believe now they have a fleet of around 36 boats.
This year we took 2 boats to Head of the River. Next year I'd like to take 3 boats to Head of the River. This year, unfortunately, our women's 8 that was due to race at Weehore, due to the weather, they didn't get to race. But hopefully next year, our first women's 8 is there, and maybe we're putting out a second women's 8 as well. So we're growing the depth of the boats that we're putting out. And then on top of that, we want to be beginning to push our results and push into the regattas that we haven't been to before.
Our biggest event away from the docks is Rocation. Every late May bank holiday weekend, we take over 100 otters up to Peterborough, where there's a beautiful, shallow, calm 1 kilometre lake. We can teach people to row in smaller boats in a safe, controlled environment, and it's a great opportunity for all the squads to mix and for everybody to get to know everybody else in the club. It culminates on the Sunday evening with a fancy dress party, and then there's some fun races on the Monday. In the summer of 2018, the Otters had their first overseas excursion. Over 70 otters went to the Paris Gay Games, where we competed against LGBTQ+ rowers from around the world. We made lots of friends, took part in a great opening ceremony, and even took home some medals. Other international adventures for the Otters include Bruges, where every year we go to their head race in late February, Nijmegen in 2022, we took part in the Euro Games. This summer we're going to Vienna. Who knows where we'll end up next?
We attend Pride every year and have done since the club was founded. It's always just such a lovely day out for everyone to get involved in. We always have spectacular turnout. Everyone wants to come and just celebrate who we are, show off the club, and just have a lovely, lovely time. We started building our own floats a few years ago, and in 2019 we actually won Best Float out of the whole parade, which was really, really fun. And then a couple of years ago, we built our own leg-powered float. It was more eco-friendly and it seemed more true to the club. Our boats are leg-powered, so is our float. And it's always just such a brilliant day out for everybody.
Back in 2017, we started Rainbow Races, which was really inspired by Stonewall's Rainbow Laces campaign. We wear rainbow colours, which is very visually impactful, and we invite clubs from around the country to come join us. We also raise money for local LGBTQ+ charities as well. We also have a fun-filled social calendar at the Otters, which includes our legendary night Halloween, which we celebrate every Halloween, and we get to dress up in our spookiest outfits. We also have our Christmas party, where everyone gets to put on their best frocks and really celebrate the achievements from the last year. We have a number of fundraisers, which includes our boat party, where we sail down the Thames, not on our own boats this time, but we are dancing the night away and putting on a show for everyone. We also have Otters Got Talent, where we show everyone it's not just rowing that we're good at, we also have lots of other things that we can do. Every Christmas, we also volunteer at the Whitechapel Mission, where we cook breakfast and support the local charity.
The club has featured in the headlines numerous times over the years. We've been on ITV, we were on Sky Sports because we are actual athletes, and we even went international when we were featured on Dutch TV channels because of our presence at Euro Games in the Netherlands.
We've run a youth outreach programme for LGBTQ+ youth, together with London Youth Rowing and Metro Centre. We've also hosted the trans charity Not a Phase to allow their members to take part in rowing experiences.
As we enter our second decade, what's important for the club now is that we're able to balance the needs of our existing members and also cater for the large wait list of prospective members. And we need to ensure that we're able to deliver on having good quality coaching, have boats that are available. And we need to do that by cementing ourselves down at the docks, that we have a home, and that's in the form of a club room. We're in the process now of incorporating as a charity. And these are important milestones for us to secure the future of the club.
I think over the past 10 years, we've done really well as a club, but we have faced challenges where we've been to events and had comments made that we're great on the dance floor but terrible on the water. I think that we're on a pathway to change that. We're still great on the dance floor, but we've got the bits and pieces in place. Our new head coach Ali, fantastic crews that are training really well to take our achievements at a competitive level to much greater heights. I'm really excited to see what happens over the next little while.
I think when London Otters first started, there was a lot of head scratching from the rowing community that we have based in East London. You know, who are they? What do they actually want? I know that's been answered now because they are very much on the rowing scene. In fact, some of their crews are beating some of the more established rowing clubs that are based at the centre. One of the founding members has gone on to qualify as a British rowing umpire, and we see him umpiring events when they're staged at the docks, and he's around on the British rowing umpire circuit. So they're very much integrated now. There's no more head scratching. We know who London Otters Rowing Club are.